All right, cool. All right, welcome to the Humans of Grappling podcast. This week we have Heather Woods joining us. She's a black belt under Andre Galvao at Atos HQ, Masters World Champ in the gi, and second in nogi Worlds, Masters Division as well. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I see you read a little bit about me.
Of course, I try to do my research, so that's awesome. No, yeah, you're the highest level competitor on the show, so yeah.
Wow.
It's an honor, yeah.
Awesome.
So.
And I don't actually know too much about you, so can you tell me a little bit about you?
Sure. Yeah, sure. So I train out of 10th Planet, Las Vegas, and I just got my brown belt there recently.
Oh, very cool.
And yeah, my not claim to fame, but like the best I've done so far is I made it to the round of 16 ADCC West Coast Trials. That's just kind of like my best placing. So
very nice. So, how many fights was that?
That was 4. So I won 3, and then I lost to Elder Cruz.
Oh, okay.
In the second day of
trials. He's good.
So
yeah,
he's good. He made the main show.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, for sure.
Yeah. So I'm not too bad, but yeah, not as high level as Masters World Champ.
Do you train in the downtown location or in Henderson? Henderson. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a 6 a.m. guy.
I was gonna say I'm sorry. I visited there a handful of times and I never met you.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. We're kind of spread out. Like each location has its own kind of like culture.
Yeah.
And, like class times and so yeah, we're all like the same gym, but it's there's some people that I've never met, but like know me somehow, and yeah.
So everyone's under Coach Casey, right? Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, nice.
Cool.
Yeah, I trained with Andy Varela, with Coach Casey, of course. A couple of the girls, Giovanna, Zaida, and Jen Perez is a good friend also. So yeah, awesome. It was really cool to. But yeah, I don't wake up at 6 a.m.
Right. Yeah. No, there's only a handful of us. Well, I mean it's grown over the last like 5 years since I've been there, but yeah, it's a special kind of crazy to like get up that early and to
yeah, what is it? Is it just like scheduling wise, or like do you just like something's off mentally and you like waking up and practicing murder at 6 a.m. or like what is it?
Yeah, it's scheduling wise, because like a lot of us like have like 9 to 5 jobs there, so like we get up before we go to work, and it just works out best for us. Where like we we don't train at night, we spend like the evenings with loved ones.
Yeah,
like Craig Jones just put out like this funny reel about like their different class times.
Oh, really?
Describing the types of people.
I want to watch it.
Yeah, it's pretty hilarious.
Okay.
So, and he described night class people as like not having anybody, like being whatever.
Oh, like the like, people who are alone, so have nobody.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So you go and go with everyone else at 7 p.m.
So the 6 a.m. people are actually the more well-adjusted humans in our society, and we never knew. We just thought y'all were crazy, right?
Exactly. Well, yeah, that's basically what he said, was like we're the productive members of society, and but like like the pros and the other like people who think they're pros and people who are pros like train at like in the middle of the day, at night. So
at the noon class, the 10 o'clock class, okay,
exactly.
Well, so you can have like doubles, but I know I know a lot of girls who have women who have full-time jobs who do 6 a.m., go to work, do 6 p.m., still take care of their family, and like they can do all the things. I don't think I could do all the things. I have to manage a few things.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So cool. But yeah, it sounds like you just came back from a trip in Europe, Euro trip.
Yeah.
Spain.
It was really fun. I went to Europeans and I fought horribly. I had like 2 weeks in the gi, and then I was like, oh, I'll just do Europeans, no big deal. I
one of the majors.
I did awful. But after that, I was like, I paid for the ticket, I might as well see Europe. I hadn't been to Europe in like 10 years, so.
Oh wow, awesome.
And I had really wanted to see Spain and Italy, so
Mm-hmm.
I got stuck in France. It wasn't really on my list, but I got stuck there for a couple days because of the strike. But then I went to Barcelona for like 10 days, and then I went to Rome for 10 days. So it was pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, and then I saw you did one seminar. Did you do a couple of seminars?
No,
or
I just did the one. I did a workshop at the 10th Planet Barcelona, which was really cool. Manu is like the guy who runs it. He's a brown belt, and he traveled a lot and trained in like the UK and all around. And I think too in the States and Canada, but he's quite good and he was really nice. When I had arrived, Kainan Duarte was teaching a seminar at the Atos, so I can't really compete with that, you know, is Kainan. Right. So actually I went to his seminar and then I trained there a couple days also. Awesome. And then I taught a little workshop at the Barcelona. And then in Italy, I trained at 2 different gyms, but I didn't teach. I trained at Andre and Serena's gym. It's called Flow. And then I trained at is Remo's gym, but I think it's called Nemesis. I don't know. I have to look now.
Nemesis?
I think it's called it's Nemeos. Nemos.
Oh, okay.
How do you say that? Is that in Italian?
I have no idea. I have no other language pronunciation skills.
Nemos. I don't know. They were amazing. They were super cool.
Awesome.
Super fun training. Yeah. But I actually didn't train that much. I had a few I went to book seminars and I had a few unpleasant encounters. And I kind of just was like, I don't want to do jiu-jitsu right now. Like, screw you guys. Like, there was a couple really creepy people. And I feel like, unfortunately, European jiu-jitsu is like 10 years behind, like, culturally. Like, super sexist, super machismo. I was really shocked. And, and, like, if someone doesn't want to have a workshop or seminar with me, like, I don't care. I know I'm not Kainan. I know I'm not like the Rotolo brothers or Fionn or Luisa Montero. Like, I know this, not me, of course. But you could, oh no, we don't have this on our schedule, or we don't have the time, but you're welcome to train. Something like this, right? Sure. No, instead I got, you're so beautiful, we would love to have you. One creepy guy from, I think it's called Infinity Jiu-Jitsu in Rome, he was like, oh, you can stay in my room. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Right.
Yeah, so I kind of was like, I started to look for workshops and put it out there, and then I didn't like the response I was getting, so I was like, I think this trip is more about eating croissants and drinking Aperol Spritz than training jiu-jitsu. Sure. So I had a proper vacation. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's I mean, not a great reason to like not be trained, but I guess like life refocuses you in certain ways.
It was nice to have a break, to be honest. Like for the last 11 years, I can't think of a break that I took aside from injury. And even with injury, I was still like in the gym, at least trying to drill or like something like this. So it was like a break, and I did whatever I wanted. And I said whatever I wanted, and I went wherever I wanted, and it was very strange, but I enjoyed it. So, yeah,
that's awesome. No, I think that's kind of where a lot of if hustle culture permeates the jiu-jitsu sphere, where it's like, oh, you gotta always be trained, always be grinding. Where it's like, but because everyone else is always training, always grinding, but at the same time, it's like, where's you have to. Like you're just gonna wear yourself down. Like if you like train too hard for too long, like you need somewhat of a physical and mental break.
Yeah, so that was both. I didn't actually come back that out of shape though, because in Europe you walk everywhere. So I was every day I was like walking somewhere, like just walking to get lost, and like that was actually nice too, because I travel a lot. Like in Mexico, where you don't walk to get lost. Like that would be very dangerous.
Sure. Right. Exactly.
You kind of need to know where you're going. That would just like keep
Sure.
you alive. So
Uh-huh.
it was nice to feel free and like in a place where like in San Diego you can't walk just anywhere. Like you have to drive a car. And in
Sure.
Vegas you cannot walk. It's either too hot or too
Yep.
cold. You have to drive.
Yep.
I'm in Portland right now, and there's some places you can walk, but like you're gonna get chased by like a homeless person with like a crack pipe thing
Sure.
or needle or
Yeah.
something. So
Right.
like it was nice just to be able to like walk the entire city. So I walked a
Mm-hmm.
lot, a lot, a lot.
Wow. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard the food there is also like better for you, even though you might be like eating whatever,
hmm
but like they have like the bread is more,
There's not
I
like
don't know.
preservatives and shit in it,
Exactly.
and it's
Yeah.
like, and
Exactly.
in Italy they use like a different kind of wheat. I usually eat
Mm-hmm.
like kind of gluten free, so it's cool because I was like
Mm-hmm.
starting to eat pasta because I was like, oh screw this, I'm just gonna eat whatever I want. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I don't feel that bloated. I don't feel like a headache or
Mm-hmm.
anything. So I just kept eating,
Right.
eating and drinking and
Yeah.
eating and drinking. So
Exactly.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So, some things Europeans have down,
Yeah.
food wise, but yeah, maybe yeah, culturally it's not as
I was so
whatever
shocked. It
tied in.
was like, it's a first world country. I would never expect
Yeah.
this. Like, and
Right.
I was blown away. So I was like, it kind of made me like a little bit sad for jujitsu, and I kind of was like, maybe I need
Mm-hmm.
some space from this right now because I'm
Sure.
never treated like that here. Like if someone isn't like, oh, they're either like yes or no, we want you for a seminar, not like option C, which I guess is like write
Right.
me super inappropriate shit.
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
happen.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. But anyway, it was fantastic, and um, I don't think I'm gonna drink for a very long time. So
Yeah.
a little detox and a lot
Exactly.
of salad.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So cool. But that's also something that a service you provide for fighters is that uh, you do a bunch of different kind of coaching. Like you have like jiu-jitsu strategy coaching. You do like nutrition stuff, and like you want to talk a little bit more about
Oh, sure,
what you
about my
do like
online
day to day.
program. Oh, for sure.
Yep.
So I have an online
Yeah.
program for Jiu-Jitsu, which is amazing, and we rolled this out
Mm-hmm.
about 9 months ago. And so I personally don't do the nutrition or the strength and conditioning. I hired the best.
Oh, okay.
I hired the best I feel in our field. So I hired
Awesome.
a nutritionist. She's a dietitian actually from
Oh,
Mexico
okay.
City, and her name's Ana Catalina. She's amazing. She worked
Awesome.
with people who have like everyone from diabetes to CrossFit athletes to like cutting weight for MMA. She
Mm-hmm.
does jujitsu also. She's a purple belt in Mexico City, and she's very good and she's very knowledgeable about nutrition for jujitsu, which is something I felt I hadn't really found before. Because
Mm-hmm.
unless if the person does jujitsu, I feel that they don't understand how much and how many calories we're exerting. They're just like, oh, workout, like 200 calories, right? And you're like,
Sure. Yeah.
no, because I have friends that
Yeah.
put that little like whoop thing on or the fit, and they're
Uh-huh.
burning like 1,000, 1,500 calories in a comp team. So like,
Uh-huh.
and then just like daily walking and our lifting and like you have to be refilling. Like you have to have those nutrients that you're like constantly burning. So, and those calories
Yep.
you're burning, you just can't stay in a deficit all the time. And I think that's what a lot of athletes do. Not
Mm-hmm.
to cut weight, just because they don't know how much they're burning. They don't know how much protein they need to be eating. They don't know like when or why or water intake. So
Mm-hmm.
I hired her. And then also we have the strength and conditioning program that kind of on that Andre Galvao that a lot of the guys and women from Atos use. It's called Electrum
Mm-hmm.
Performance, and so that is also part of our program.
Nice.
And then for our deluxe edition of our program, we have a mental coach, Jiggy Yoon. This is actually her shirt. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, awesome.
I just happen to be wearing this, but
Mm-hmm.
she's fantastic, and she helped me a lot with my like mental. I kind of had a like a stick, and I was just
Mm-hmm.
like at purple, and she really helped me like through brown belt to really gain good titles to feel confident in my jiu-jitsu. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it was really hard training in Atos and like getting beat up by Louisa, and then like going out there and trying to like not feel defeated walking into a match. And I had to
Mm-hmm.
like learn that those were like Louisa's not my competition. Like
Sure.
the girls
Yeah.
I'm fighting at purple and brown at that moment, they were
Yeah.
my competition. So
Uh-huh.
I had to really change
Gotcha.
a lot in my mindset. And it's hard
Yeah.
when you're in a tough room. You have to know that like the training is going to be harder than the fight. And it took me a long time.
Yep.
But she helped me with a lot of personal things, a lot of just good mental mindset for jujitsu. She taught me how to
Mm-hmm.
rest,
Oh
which
wow. Yeah.
I never did before. Um,
For sure.
and then I do the coaching. I help you with your competition prep, whether and not even competitors can be if you're a hobbyist, if you're just you want to compete sometimes, if you just want to you're hitting a plateau in the gym. We talk about all that. And the coolest part is like you can send me videos. We do everything virtually. So a lot of people have come to me and a lot of guys being like, "Oh, I didn't really have a coach. Like maybe they're a white or blue belt." And they show up to the
Mm-hmm.
competition and unfortunately the professor has like imagine you're in Atos. Galvao's not
Sure.
going to be
Yeah.
watching the white belt go to compete. He's going to be coaching Kainan, and it's just how it is.
Yep.
And it trickles
Yep.
down. Like you're supposed to have like the purple belts coaching the white belts, and the brown belts coaching the blue belts, and the black belts coaching the purple and each other, right? But
Sure.
in a lot of
Right.
gyms, that doesn't happen. Like they don't have that
Mm-hmm.
system. And so
Sure.
it's nice to have someone like me where you can be like, okay, Heather. And even though I can't be there holding their hand, I can be there holding their hand from afar, you know, like this is what you need
Mm-hmm.
to bring. This is what we need to work on. This is what you need to do to prepare. This is going to be your strategy. And then once we fight, or even just in the gym, like what are the things to help me get past and get to that next level? Like one of
Mm-hmm.
my clients was like struggling at her belt and wasn't feeling that she was really getting the help she needed and didn't know what she needed to get to the next belt. And that was something that
Mm-hmm.
we just had to work on. It had nothing to do with competition. So everyone's
Mm-hmm.
different, but that program is available for all different things in jiu-jitsu and being able to help you kind of reach that next level where you want to be. So yeah, that's basically all of
That's
it.
awesome.
Yeah. And so if anyone's interested,
That,
I do like a 15-minute free consult. So you can always like hit me up and just tell me about your situation and see if it works for you.
that's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that sounds very comprehensive. Like you've hit all the different angles of like being a jiu-jitsu competitor.
Yeah.
And it's not just training. We have to like hone in all these different skills at the same time and peak at a particular point in time where your nutrition's on point, like conditioning's on point, like technique, all these things play into uh, trying to be the best you can be on tournament day.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah.
sometimes like in the tournament and the competition, like think about the
Mm-hmm.
ADCC that you did. The best
Mm-hmm.
guy doesn't always win. The best girl
Yep.
doesn't always win. But when you have like your nutrition on point, like you said, all those things, your mindset, you have your technique, your strategy, everything, you're gonna have just this set sound of confidence going in that you're gonna have a one up on every person, even if they may be more technically sound than you. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And like I think s I think the saying is like you have to be able to win on your worst day. Like maybe Andrew Wiltsey said that, or I don't know, somebody like that. That's a thing.
yeah.
Is like you have to your level has to be so high that even if like things go wrong, like things did go sideways for me, like around that
Mhm.
trials is like some like terrible things happen, and I had to like stay focused and like really um really really stay in the pocket and stay like okay, this is what I'm still gonna do. This like this is still like what I'm here to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely like the mental aspect is like very underrated. Like because people just kind of go through about like I don't know, they just go through their life, go through their training, don't really introspect and don't really like think about their thinking.
Mhm.
And like I've done I don't like just like regular therapy, and like that's something that I've gotten a ton of benefit from in trying to like manage how I'm thinking about things and how my like just general attitudes towards things about myself, and like having a kind of objective third party, disinterested third party saying, hey, look, like maybe that's not so healthy.
Yeah.
Maybe that's like not a great way to like frame things. So I guess, yeah, what things have you noticed like shift for you with the mental game?
So since Jiggy, I feel like a lot of reframing, like you said, like I should probably find a therapist. It's on my list of things to do, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think therapy is fantastic. But I had a year with her, and we did a lot of reframing. Like we did a lot of more like positive thinking. We did a lot of like situation. Like we can't always control the situation, but we can control how we react to the situation. So things like that were super helpful. And I think mental is huge. I think therapy is great, or a sports psychologist, anything of this nature, I think is awesome. And I highly recommend it. And that actually brings up another point too, is you were kind of talking about, so you say like people just have like, I forgot what you thought, but one thing I noticed too is just people when they're training, is they're just kind of going in there to train to what, like blow off steam. But what happens when they want to get better? They have to like train smarter. So that's one of the things too, is like you said something that kind of got my mind thinking about that too, is like I think a lot of people don't understand that if they just go in and like, okay, whatever today, like nothing's gonna come of it. You're gonna lose calories, you're gonna like get in better shape, you're gonna feel better, you're not gonna want to like cut someone off in traffic.
Sure.
Exactly. But are you getting better? So that's
are you squeezing the most out of the
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So that kind of rolled back to what you were saying, but yeah. Anyway.
No, and that's something that I've kind of ties into what the other service you offer is like video review. Like I've done a lot of like film study of myself, of like just filming my roles in the gym, because like I realized, why does competition feel like, why is that the only time we film ourselves? It's like that, like filming ourselves like in training is important too, just because that's we can make like the adjustments as we go along throughout the week. Like we can see what we're doing Monday and then come in Tuesday and have like an adjustment for it. Like if our training partner is doing something that's messing us up, passing our guard in a certain way, maybe we can like respond in a different way. And like that, I think we can more rapidly iterate and get better with more like self-film study.
No, for sure. I highly recommend that. I ask everyone like film as much as you can. And some people are shy. They're like, I don't want to. Like, I think as long as the other person knows you're not trying to make highlight videos out of them, then they're going to be cool with it and be like, hey, no, this is for me, for my study. This is my coach is helping me. Or you can say like, oh, my friend is helping me. Like, or I need to, like you said, I need to figure out what I'm doing wrong. So I feel like it's super, super, super helpful. And I need to start doing it more with myself. And I watched some training videos that I filmed the last week. We did like not the last week, the week before Euros. And I was like finding a lot of mistakes that I was making and then starting to worry about them because it was so soon to the competition. I was like, oh man, because I would never do this in the gi, but I hadn't put the gi on in like 3 months. So I was like, I need to like fix everything. So. But yeah, I think it's super, super important. And I think like you said, even if it's just yourself studying your own footage, it's fantastic. So
yeah, definitely. And having, I think that's good. Like it's good to have like an objective, like third eye, like on it too. Like it's so like maybe I'm doing something that I don't see, and like having a coach review it, like you, or this seems to be like a thing people are doing more and more, like these online film studies. I think that's just going to increase the skill level of grappling overall.
No, for sure.
Just, but by having like not just your coach, but having like a virtual coach, like who's a very high level, such as yourself, like you know the game maybe even better, or like the competitive landscape even better than maybe your local coach.
Yeah.
Who maybe if somebody's not in a popular jiu-jitsu area, like they can get
like
better
Kentucky
techniques
from, or something
elsewhere. Yeah.
And actually,
I wasn't gonna say
no, it's actually funny because I don't have too many students from the Midwest, and I would think that would be a good place because like a lot of the, I mean, jiu-jitsu is growing in the Midwest for sure. Like have a lot of people who realize like, hey, I'm good at jiu-jitsu, I can move there and have a very successful gym. Whereas in San Diego, like there's no spots left. Like in Florida, there's no spots left. Like I mean, not in the good places, right? Or the popular places. And so, I was wondering that because I mean, some of the coaches could be great coaches, but maybe not the best competitors. It's really hard to be like a good competitor, a good coach, a good business owner. Like that doesn't, you don't often see that in a gym. I go to a lot of gyms and I don't see that often. It's hard to be all three. And even in Atos, like, Galvao doesn't run the business. He has a manager, he has his wife, he has the people who work for him because they run the business and it's successful. Like, he's the teacher and the competitor, and he's incredible at both, you know? Right. So I don't see him in the office, like, typing away. That's not your job, man, you know?
That's hilarious to, like, picture
Galvao in the office. Like throwing papers away, I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think like
that's awesome.
But then there's a lot of gyms where they have to, like, they don't have someone else to do that, so they run the business side, and then that can collapse or that can cause issues, or you know, the gym could be so much more successful if they have all three parts, but not everybody has all those parts. So
definitely. Yeah. And that's what I've seen. Just it's three different skill sets, like running the business and just being marketing yourself, even as like an athlete, is like completely separate skill.
Oh, that's so hard too.
Like
especially a jiu-jitsu athlete, like you go to Taco Bell and be like, "What's jiu-jitsu?" and they'll be like, "I don't know." So market yourself. Good luck. It's hard. It's just really hard. Yeah,
definitely. What have you seen, like, I guess, how have you marketed yourself, and how is your strategy for, like, you do a bunch of like, I don't know, just on your Instagram page, it seems like you do a bunch of seminars, you teach, sounds like you're in between, like, you train at 10th Planet Portland as well, and just like, what is your how do you make it work as like a full-time jiu-jitsu person?
Jiu-jitsu, like, lifestyle is definitely tough, and for a lot of years I had to work, like, first side jobs, like, always in bars, because that's how I put myself through college, and that actually was that was great, but it was really hard to compete on the weekends because nobody will give me Friday, Saturday off. And so then I had to change to, like, I did a sales job, which was terrible. And then I do eyebrows. Actually, I've done them for a long time. So I own my own business, which when working with that was great because I could make my own schedule. But after COVID, I lost my business, and I was like, okay, I really would like to work full time as an athlete. One, I think it's a little bit harder for women, like, just generally. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, woe is me, but like, sometimes I'll have men, I feel like, be hesitant to come to a seminar by a woman because they're like, like, it's a girl, like, maybe they think we're built different, so then they wouldn't learn the same thing or this or that. It's still a little bit tough, but I think a lot of guys are really understanding, like, hey, if the woman is like this size, like, let's say 140, 145, if she can defend herself against a 200-pound guy, like, maybe she has something cool to teach. So I think, like, they started growing. So anyway, back to how is, I think first is making good connections. Like, I'm always traveling, but I always, like, I love to teach. I'm a good competitor, but I'm far from the best. I make a lot of mistakes. I still have a lot of nerves that I have to deal with, and they go up and down in season, you know, for sure.
Sure.
But I think, well, one thing that I try to do is like always, I think always making good connections and not just like meeting people to, oh, maybe I'll teach a seminar there. Like, it's good because I think bringing people together in jiu-jitsu, there's a lot of groups online where people will bring each other together. And I think the best thing for athletes is just constantly making good connections, because there's a lot of schools out there where like, oh, I'd like to have a competitor come in, because like you said, not everyone's, maybe they're a great teacher, but they're not the best competitor, or maybe like in one gym I taught at, the guy was like 300 pounds, and he's like, I have a lot of small students, so like I would like to have you, because you have like a little bit smaller person game, so it's good. So ways like that. So if you're always meeting people, and then people reach out and they're like, oh, we'd like a seminar or a workshop, or if I'm in the area, I'll reach out too. So I think just like constantly making good connections in jiu-jitsu, I think is one way, because honestly, living only jiu-jitsu is super hard. And like I've almost always had to have something to supplement, like something else on the side, you know? So I think that's just like, that's all it is. You just have to make good connections, because I know a lot of really great athletes, and they don't teach a lot of seminars, and I'm like, they're so much better than me. They're so much better competitors, and some of them are quite good teachers, but they're not really good at like reaching out to people, making connections, or like one example is I tried to set one up with another girl, and she was like, oh, well, I need to compete, and I need to do this, and changing the date, and changing the time, and I was like, you have to treat it more like a business, you know? Like, you have to be very like, hey, I'm going to be here at these dates, you pick a date, confirm, email, like, everything's set in stone, like, and I'm still learning too, but I think that treating jiu-jitsu a little bit more like a business, and not just like, oh, I'll show up kind of thing is important. So I guess those, I don't know if I got a little bit off topic, but those things.
No, definitely that definitely resonates with what I've seen as well. Is like, I've only done a handful of like, sometimes I like fill in for teaching a handful of times at 6 a.m. where I do a private here and there, and it's like, I have to treat it like my job. Like I have a 9-to-5 job, so it's like, okay, we set a meeting and we have a confirmed, like, make sure people know that this is what I expect and whatnot. So I think maybe it's just that maybe lack of experience of like what, like, since you've had like side jobs and like kind of 9-to-5 jobs, people, you've developed that level of professionalism, whereas maybe somebody who's like only done jiu-jitsu, only knows jiu-jitsu,
never had a job,
never had a job, like maybe they don't know the skills of like showing up on time and like treat it like a business, or whatever. Treating it like a business.
And this is another thing too, is like, so when Fight to Win was like having more shows, and I competed a couple times, and I remember getting a message from Seth being like, hey, if we're in the area, please apply. Don't just assume, because a lot of the girls would be like, oh, why didn't Seth put me on his show? And I'm like, did you apply? And they're like, no. And I was like, he doesn't read your mind, you know? Right. So the same is like, there's a lot of good gyms out there in, like, let's say the Midwest, that would probably love to have someone from like Atos or let's say like Amanda Lone here in Portland. But Amanda has to be like, hey, I'm free these weekends. Would you guys be interested? Because they're not gonna just like, what are they gonna do? Just like scroll down and like hit up every black belt until they find one that's like, I don't know. It makes more sense to me to be like, hey, I'm thinking about going here or passing through here. Like, I'll be in that area. Do you guys want a seminar? And a lot of people say yes. So
Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, it's that marketing. Nobody's gonna read your mind. Like, you have to create the opportunity yourself.
Yeah,
Especially
and
if, like,
some people don't even know they can reach out to these people. Like, let's say like Maggie Gringati. Okay, like let me just go to her Instagram and message her, hey, we want you for a seminar. Like, that might be scary for somebody, you know? They don't know, like, or some, like, anyone too. And, like, how would you know? How would you know she's available to teach a seminar? How would you know that, like, Amanda's, like, so, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Exactly. So, just like that.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned something a little bit earlier about small person jiu-jitsu. Is like that, like when I was a white belt, that that kind of got instilled in me. It was like, oh, I'm a bigger guy, but I want to learn from the small people, because like they've had to develop their technique to such a high level to deal with people like my size.
No, for sure. Like, I love learning jiu-jitsu from any small person, like any small girl or guy, doesn't matter. I just think if like someone's smaller, they always have like cool tips and tricks. Because I've had guys who are like I said, like 300 pounds try to show me something. I was like, that doesn't work for me. I'm half your size. Like, and I'm not saying that like big guy jiu-jitsu doesn't work. Like, there's a lot of things I like to do that big guys do. Like, I love under overpass. I love any sort of smash pass. I love like head control. I love passing half guard. But I think that there's like cool tips and tricks that little people have taught me in these situations, like how not to get swept, how to have better control, like details, pant grips, a lot of things. So I think it's really cool to be able to learn from a smaller human. I think I always try to go to those seminars of little people, smaller people.
Yeah.
My wrestling coach is my size, so.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good. Good to, and good to have, like, because the smaller people have been crushed. They've come up, like, they've only known like
survival.
People. Survival. So they've had to, like, their skills have been just like sharpened to that certain degree, like to the whatever.
I know what you mean.
To survive. To survive. Yeah, like giants, and they take their backs and try. Whatever. So that's awesome. Yeah, that's great. And I think that would be a better case for like a good, I don't know, marketing or good, like I don't know, getting people more behind like going to women's seminars and like or women led seminars where it's like we're going to learn something that has been battle tested by someone who's consistently going to be smaller and weaker than the average person that they roll with.
It's genetics. It's biology. Yeah, for sure.
Right. Yeah. So anyways, so that's dope. So it sounds like you bounce between gi and nogi.
Yeah.
So which do you like better? What's put you on the spot?
So I did my nogi camp here in Portland, and I really enjoyed the city and the people and everything. So I came back to stay in Portland for a couple more months. Cool. And I'm gonna train mainly nogi. I have some friends down the street. They train at a BTT, and I'm gonna train some days in the gi with them because it is like my first love, you know?
Yeah, sure.
And so, but I know I'm lacking in a lot of nogi, like leg entanglements and things I need to work on there. So, luckily for this year's master, like in nogi worlds, I'll probably do master division again just because all the reaping. But I'll see. Like, by the time from here to now, if I train enough nogi and heel hooks, then maybe I'll do the adult division. But that's the really only thing setting me apart is like constantly like tearing on your legs, you know? So.
Right. Yeah. It's rough.
But I really do like nogi, and I'm learning to love it. So, but gi is always going to be my favorite, no matter what.
For sure. Yeah, and I started in the gi, or well, I guess technically I wrestled in high school, so I guess I did nogi first.
Yeah.
But then like I started in the gi at Guerrilla Jiu-Jitsu under Dave Camarino.
Okay.
So it was like pretty old school, like traditional, and like I was like, oh man, this is so cool to like manipulate the gi and like do stuff. But then like 5 years ago, I moved out to Las Vegas, and I was like, all right, let me do something completely different. Let me do this 10th Planet stuff. And I've done no gi. I did some gi while I was out here, like for a couple of years, but then I don't know. The pandemic hit, and I was like, let me just focus on like one thing.
Yeah.
And like I've taken the gi off, and I haven't really looked back.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just advocating for the dark side. I guess, is my fingers have never felt better.
Your hands definitely look better in nogi, and it's really nice not to have like 30 gis to wash every day.
Right.
So that's another big selling point. Is like,
right.
I don't have to wash gis every day, so maybe I'll wash a gi a week right now. So.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Definitely, and that's. Yeah, and you only have to, whatever. Like gis take up so much more space.
So much more space, and when you travel too.
Yeah. Right.
I had to leave one gi in Rome because I didn't have any room. Yeah, so I was like, I'm either bringing home presents for my family or there was no room. So yeah.
So you gotta. Was it a favorite gi?
Oh no, it's really nice. But my friend I stayed with, she's going back to Jiu-Jitsu, so it's in the best of hands. Yeah, she was like, I was like, I can leave her maybe like a bunch of my clothes, but I think she needs a gi more than I do. So
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And gis are like 10 pounds. Well, I guess lighter gis are like 5 pounds.
They're not 10 pounds. The gis,
they're not. Okay.
I think your whole kit is like for maybe for a guy it would be 5 pounds, but the women's gi is about 4. Yeah.
Gotcha.
10 pounds.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't put that's clearly how long I haven't put a gi on. For
10 pounds.
I just remember like having to always account for the gi weight when weighing in for like gi tournaments, and I don't know. It's that's behind me.
Yeah.
I don't have to.
No more of that bullshit. Yeah.
Exactly.
That silly gi stuff.
Yeah. So what? I guess since you've trained at so many different places, like, and you've like Atos HQ is obviously home for you. Like, what are like the differences that you've seen from like style of training at like Atos versus 10th Planet versus like any other places that you trained?
So I think the biggest thing about Atos is that it has like basically Atos is like, I would say, the Harvard of Jiu-Jitsu. So you have everything if you go there, you have everything you need to be successful. Like everything is provided for you. Like they have good class structure, they have good curriculum, they have great training partners, they have world-class instructors, and the training is so tough. And the best part about the training that's so tough is you have everyone around your body size and your level. So that's one thing that I cannot find anywhere else, and you can't really replicate that. So, like, for example, I go to Atos, and within, let's say I'm 145, so from 125 to 165 in my level, so like brown and black, because a lot of times for women they combine those, so brown and black, and some good purple belts too. They have some really good. And they have some good teenagers.
Of course.
But in a normal class, not just competition, in a normal class, I think I would have 15 choices of people to spar with in that group of around my size, around my weight, around my level, and between men and women, of course.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's like you can't do that. 10th Planet Portland's fantastic. I love training here. Amanda and Phil are great. There's a lot of good people there, but there's not too many around my size and my level. Like some of the better guys are a bit bigger. Amanda's my favorite training partner. We have a couple other girls who are fantastic as well, but some bigger, some smaller. And the guys too, like I said, a lot of the better guys are a bit bigger than me. There's starting to be some small ones that are like growing up and getting better. And a lot of the big guys know how to train well with women there, which is really nice. And it has a really healthy environment, which I really like. But yeah, that's the only thing for someone my size in black belt. Like if I go to another gym, the same as in Idaho, there's a couple good gyms, but there's not too many people my size, my level. It's very common outside of like super metropolitan jiu-jitsu city, like outside of San Diego. I think you do like San Diego, Florida, and New York is the only places that you're gonna find like a lot of people. And even there too, I think San Diego really is, maybe Texas now, I don't know. But you know, so it is really hard just because of my size. If I had like another like 15 pounds, I think it would be a lot easier for me. But I think because I still sit at this weight, and I've tried to get bigger. Mainly for this reason, because my parents live in Idaho. I like really all the guys in the Pacific Northwest are so big. Yeah, like how much do you weigh?
It's 230.
Okay, so not as big as you, but the average guy here is like 185.
Yeah.
Like in the Pacific Northwest, I think that's like the average size of guy, and that's just like a little too big for like training, and they don't always make the same movements as like the women in the tournament. So we have to find like the smaller guys, because even the smaller guys like 125, those guys tend to make more similar movements to like my division.
I see.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So that's the main difference, I think, with like Atos and every other gym is like you have all of the components, and sometimes the other ones are lacking just a few, like even if it's just bodies to train with. Yes.
Yeah, that is an interesting thing, because I'm thinking about my training partners. Yesterday I thought it was a good day because there was like 5 heavyweights. Yeah. People 200 plus. 200 plus, like relatively high level guys. I was like, but thinking about 15 people of that's like,
and if you were to go to Atos, you would have 15-20 of you guys. Sure. There's a lot of the big boys in any class too. And that's another thing too, is I trained in the 10th Planet, and there was a few, and like Andy rolls great with women. A lot of the other guys too, Spence and they're super nice, and they're really good. But like my size is just not too many. Is Jen, and then Giovanna's a little bit smaller, but she's fantastic training. She's such a badass. I'm just saying, like, I imagine for her there's not too many either. So it's just something that
for sure.
It's just something that I think we come across as women and as smaller men when they go to a gym. They're like, they walk into your gym with 5 heavyweights, and maybe there's 2 other guys in the morning class, so they only have 2 rolls, or they can fight all you guys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think that's, 6 a.m. We've gotten better about that. Like we have like 30 people ish.
Oh, that's good like, for 6 a.m.
Yeah.
That's good.
You should come by. Like, Coach Casey teaches Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 a.m. So next time you're in town, like,
6 a.m.
You'd be impressed.
Oh my goodness.
But Tuesday, Thursday is a little bit lighter. But we usually get like 20, 30
That's
people.
So good.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Like thinking about that, like if I have, I don't know, like 3, 4 other heavyweights in the class, like I think that's a good day for me. But thinking about that, like from the other side of like, no, like since you know what's possible, like since you came up at Atos and like you see that this is how like what a major like competitive academy looks like, I'm sure that's going to be hard to replicate other places.
But I did
just outside of Jiu-Jitsu Mecca.
I didn't start there. I was at Atos I lived in San Diego for 4 years, and he gave me my brown and my black belt. But before trained in Australia. I trained 6 months with Liv and Lachlan Giles, and
Oh
Craig
wow.
Jones was there. The comp class was
Wow.
actually pretty cool. It was Craig Jones, Kit
Yeah.
Dale, Lockie, Liv, this other guy, Lockie, and then sometimes two or three, Mikhail, two or three other people you probably haven't seen too
Uh-huh.
much, but some
Sure.
pretty good names. I was a blue belt.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
lived in Brazil. I trained with Theodoro Canal. Actually, there I had really good training because I could train there
Mm-hmm.
and then in the Mayor GFT. So that the
Mm-hmm.
Mayor GFT produced some of the athletes like Amanda, what's her name? Amanda, forgot her last name. Amanda, Maisa Bastos, Larissa Diaz. I don't know if you're familiar with any of these women, but they're very good in the gi.
Uh-huh.
And
Gotcha.
I'm sure you know Maisa Bastos, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of really good girls, really
Mm-hmm.
famous girls. So I got to train there and at
Right.
Theodoro's. So I got to have that, but Theodoro's they didn't really have like a curriculum. I mean that I
Mm.
know of.
Sure.
And
Uh-huh.
maybe they did, and
Yeah. Right.
but it was
Uh-huh.
kind of what he wanted to teach and what he felt we needed to work on. So it wasn't as
Uh-huh.
structured. It was very
Mm-hmm.
enjoyable and it was very good training and
Right.
I learned a lot.
Sure.
But it is
Mm-hmm.
I think how Atos does structure and 10th Planet does a structure and a curriculum in Portland that I
Right.
think is fantastic as
Mm-hmm.
well. But I think for
Mm-hmm.
me and my learning style, it's important to have
Mm-hmm.
structure. Not everybody
Gotcha.
needs that, but I think it's important. Um,
Sure.
but where else did I train? I trained in Idaho for a little bit because I grew up there. I trained in the south of France for 3 months. I lived there in London. Um,
Wow. So you have like lived in yeah a number of
yeah, I lived in
places
like
like
6 countries now.
wow.
Yeah,
That's
and I
amazing.
traveled. I was just thinking about I traveled to like 13 now. Now
Uh,
that I got Italy and Spain. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, so and I like
That's
to
crazy.
stay for a long time. Like
Yeah.
I actually trained in Argentina too. Yeah, so a lot of places. So
Dang.
I kind of feel like I have a good gauge
Yeah.
of what I find best for an academy. And I
Sure.
had
Yeah.
intended to open one, but I changed my mind.
I
Yeah.
see. Yes. That's a lot of
Yeah,
headaches.
I don't want it.
It's right.
Mhm.
Because then yeah you have to get a lease and it's 5 years and you have to
No.
like make money and you know it's
No,
yeah
I don't want
and
it.
you have to deal with insurance. Yeah. No. I've yeah that's I've gone down that business thought exercise,
Yeah.
and it's like Coach Casey has a great environment. I'm like I'm happy to just be a part of it.
Yeah,
So
for sure. And I
yeah,
think that's good. I really like his gym and I think he has a
yeah,
good healthy environment also and
right,
competitive
exactly.
too. And so that's
Yeah,
good because
yeah,
it's hard to
right.
have both.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely a. I mean, you have to. I mean, as an like not just jujitsu but MMA coach, you have to manage so many different egos and like everyone wants to be the best and like you bring them all together. Maybe sometimes people like yeah don't get along or
Yeah.
whatever. So I'm like yeah that is if I ever move anywhere else I'll be the 6 a.m. program guy like whatever I'll bring the 6 a.m. with
Yeah.
me like that's my skill set
Yeah.
that I can wake up early and be reliable. So that's yeah. So cool. Yeah. So I guess one last like technical question is like, what do you find in um, like gi versus no gi? How does your game change? Like, I mean, besides lack of grips and
Hmm.
whatnot, do you like do things? Because I've found like when I used to train both, like I do things in deep half that like get me um, bow and arrow choke,
Yeah.
and like that's like not great, but I can just do that in nogi and not have to worry about that. So, what are there certain things that you find that get you in trouble in the gi versus nogi?
So I feel like a lot more confident in the gi and
Mm-hmm.
but I my gi game doesn't translate to my no gi game and I had
Mm.
to
Okay.
make a completely new no-gi game. That's because some people like you said you can play deep half and both, so your game translates pretty
Yeah.
well, right? your grips might change a little bit, but like in the end, it's not drastically different. Whereas like I can't play collar sleeve in nogi. Like what am I supposed to do? Like two hands like on one or the burrito grip. Like I was like, I don't like this, and so I had to make a whole new game. So I think the best thing is when people are switching from back and forth is to find a strategy in each and work on that strategy, especially if you're like me, where I did gi most of my life, and then I was like, oh, I have to do nogi at brown belt. He was like, my professor was like, you need to do nogi, and I was like, okay, I need to do nogi. And so I really went out of my way to be better at nogi, so that I could feel like a black belt in both, where I didn't really feel that in nogi. I didn't feel that I would be at that level, right? And so I had to come up with a strategy, come up with a game, and then start to work from there. And I'm still figuring out when different styles of people come to train, or like I train with them, or I go to train with them, and I'm like, oh, you do this different, and you're shutting down this in no gi, whereas in the gi I could do something, and so a lot of things I have to figure out.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but totally different for me. I think it's like a totally different sport, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm in that boat.
Sure. Yeah. No, and I feel like it's because some fundamental constraints are different. Like you can grab cloth versus not, and or even like I would go so far as to say like different training environments are like different sports. So like night class is known as the swamp at 10th Planet Las Vegas. So like it gets really sweaty, and it's really like, I don't know, like you slip and slide a lot. Or even like our Sunday open mats, like that's a perfect example of like just there's sweat everywhere. It's very hard to get footing, and there's like it's a very constrained space too. Like you're rolling on an open mat. You don't want to bump into anybody. So it's like all these different things like change how you roll to such a degree that maybe it's like not even the same thing. So
no, totally. I mean, not night today, but yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it's not quite.
But I get it.
It's not tournament conditions.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't have a big open space where you don't have to worry about like bumping into other people or bumping into the wall or whatever. Like it's it's different. Not quite. If you're gonna like replicate tournament style stuff, like you need to be able to, I don't know, practice in that same kind of mindset. So cool. Yeah. So anyways, so where let me just we can wrap this up. Where can people find you, and how can they get in contact with you?
My Instagram is Heather N Woods Jiu-Jitsu. No, sorry, my Instagram is Heather N Woods or Heather.Woods BJJ, and my website's Heather Woods Jiu-Jitsu. And like I said, I offer 15-minute consults. If you're ever interested in just talking about your life and your journey, I can take 15 minutes of my time to listen. and like I said, if we find a program that suits you, then that's fantastic. But yeah, so it was really cool. Yeah, thank you.
Sweet. Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Awesome. Great. Well, I'll come to visit Las Vegas, and I'll try to wake up for 6 a.m.
All right.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye.
All right. See you.